Warning: the following episode of That Mental Ginger Show contains strong language and adult themes. On today's episode of That Mental Ginger Show, we are talking to actor and writer Colin MacGregor. Please join us as we talk about his life in the casino business, his rather unique experiences with Rod Stewart, and what it's really like to have chewing gum stuck in your mouth during an interview. Until then, let's cut to the intro.
All right, troops.
This episode of That Mental Ginger Show is recorded at Scuff Studios. If you're looking to do podcasts, music, or any creative passions, these guys will have you covered. For more information, contact Scuff Studios at scuffed.studios.gla@gmail.com or find them on Facebook or Instagram and drop them a message. Scuff Studios, to nurture your creative passions. Colin, thank you so much for coming on. But
That's an absolute pleasure.
I've got to ask, why would you want to come on here?
Well, I was passing by outside and you came rushing out and said, I'll give you a tenner if you come on my show.
In fairness, yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what happened. But what I like to do with every guest is I like them to start off by telling me their origin story, because that's the one thing we've all got in common. We have an origins.
Yeah.
So Colin, for my faithful followers, please tell us your origin story.
Well, my origin story depends.
Well, I don't need to know like what position your dad was in when he created you. We'll start with the basics. Where were you born?
I was born in Bellshill.
Hey, another Bellshill boy.
Yes.
Hey. But you don't find it weird that they're flats now?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Well, I've said this with every guest recently that have been on from Bellshill, that I want to go back there and find like the patch where like my mum had me.
Yeah.
I just go into that flat and go, yeah, see where you're tucking into your dinner.
No,
that's where my mum.
I want to go and see if they've put up a plaque yet.
Yeah. It's like out popped.
Yeah. Colin MacGregor, right here.
What? Oh, there's that stain for the afterbirth. Oh,
was so ugly. What do you call them? The one midwife slapped his mother.
I think if it was ever me, it would be one of those plaques that's like, in 1987 on this day in this place, nothing happened.
Yeah,
that's more likely to be what happens, but it's the story of my life.
Well, the thing for me was I lived abroad for quite some time, and I came back to Bellshill and to see the flats here and the old Bellshill maternity where so many people were born.
Yeah, I mean most people I've had on like the podcast, aside from obviously people in other countries, most of them were born in Bellshill, and it's like it's crazy to think how many people have popped out of there, literally.
Yeah.
So you lived abroad.
Yes.
Whereabouts?
I've had time in Sun City in South Africa.
Ah,
well,
right.
Botswana. It's a homeland within South Africa.
Yeah.
They built Sun City there because Botswana has a black president, etc., etc. It's a homeland, which apparently doesn't exist anymore. I just found out. I lived there in Sun City for 3 years, working in the casino there. And had a great time with so many people that are still my friends from working back 30 odd years ago. And these people are still my friends. I'm friends with them on Facebook, etc. And then I moved to Holland, where I worked for 5 years.
What were you doing over in Holland?
Casino business again.
Oh.
It's there I discovered I had a bit of a singing voice. And I get discovered in a toilet, of all places.
Right, there's a story here.
George Michael here.
It sounded a bit like, right, so...
No, not quite like that. I was in the toilet in the casino.
Yeah.
And I was having a pee and I was singing to myself. And my general manager walked in and he says, "You've got a bit of a voice." He says, "I've got a studio I built in my house because I had a #1 hit in Holland, and with the money I made there, I built a studio. Can you come and do some backing vocals for me?" So that started me in the route to becoming a singer.
It sounds so dodgy though, doesn't it? Like I was singing in the lavvy, and a guy came up, I built a studio in my house. It wasn't by chance. He didn't have like a dodgy eye looking downwards, did
No,
he?
but he had puppies, and he says, "You want to come and see my puppies?" So, and I said, "Yeah." I says, "Can I sing a song while I'm there?" Anyway,
Yeah.
so and I sung some backing vocals for him, and then there's a famous guy in Holland called Miel Luistenauer. He's very well known for doing composing for television programs, etc., etc. And through the family, the girlfriend I had, and the family I lived with, he got sent 2 tapes of me singing at the same time. So he invited me to sing 2 songs on his Christmas album. So I went to his studio and sung 2 songs on his Christmas album. But then I moved to Denmark and lived there for 2.5 years, Copenhagen. And one day I decided I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to go home because I did a few singing gigs, but I like the Scottish sense of humour. And I like to say the odd funny thing, when I'm up singing. The Danes just didn't get it. It went boom, right over their heads. And I thought, I'm missing the banter.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to Scotland. I've been away too long. I'm going to go back to Scotland and see what happens. And sure enough, I went back to Scotland, got a job in a cabaret show in Glasgow.
Oh, nice.
Pretty quickly. So that was me on the singing side of things.
Well, how long did you do the cabaret for?
In total, about 28 years.
Oh.
I've been an entertainer.
Yeah.
Because I then went on to the cruise ships
Ah.
and started as a singer on the cruise ships, but then became the cruise director on the cruise ships for quite a while.
What was it like being on the cruise? How long are you?
6-month contracts.
Wow.
I did 6 months on, and I'm chewing chewing gum here, actually. I'm sorry.
Is that way? I wasn't sure if you were chewing gum or if there was like something wrong.
A nervous twitch,
Yeah.
So actually, I've got false teeth too. I chew the chewing gum to keep the false teeth in.
I mean, in fairness, I've got false teeth as well. But that was when I got a kicking. Well, I got 3 Neds jumped me and knocked my 2 front teeth out. So I was literally all I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth.
Oh, they fit in pretty well. That's quite good. Yeah,
it did not bad. Not bad in fairness. Well, it wasn't good walking around when you get your temporary caps put in. They're like, right, you can't eat this, you can't eat that because it'll stain and discolour your teeth, so you'll have purple teeth by the end of it. I'm like, so I couldn't have a curry because I would look like I was like coming out of a methadone clinic. So you were 6 months on and 6 months off. Cruise ships.
Because as a cruise director, you earned good money, and you didn't spend anything on the ship. Your food was free, your drinks were free.
Board's free because you can't go anywhere.
I remember I used to go as a cruise director. You're pretty lonely job. You're in charge of all the big shows on the ship and all the smaller venues. And I used to go to the local Chinese restaurant on board the ship and have my dinner there. And one day I was thinking, do you get Chinese Catholics, Chinese Protestants, Chinese Jewish people?
Yeah.
I called the waiter over and he said, "Patrick, come here." And he came over and he goes, "Yeah." And I says, "Listen, you get any Chinese Jews?" He says, "Don't know, go find out." And away he went. 10 minutes later, he came back and says, "No, sorry, sir. No Chinese Jews, only orange Jews, pineapple Jews."
I was waiting for the setup with that one. Oh my God.
Here's me saying I wasn't going to tell any jokes. I'm just going to talk about my life.
You're talking, I mentioned jokes. Have you done any stand-up?
No, I haven't, no.
Why not? Because you've got one-liners in you.
Yeah. No, I don't think. My days for going on stage are finished. I don't keep too well these days, and I just couldn't see myself doing it. No. I've got a friend, Sean Higgs, who's interested, who's been on.
Yes, he's been on the show, yes.
And I like watching his progress.
Yeah.
And he'll send me out sometime and we'll talk about it. What's his best direction to go. And
so he went from being like off the stage, on the stage performing to like directing others on it.
Yeah, well, that's what I took myself off to university and I got a Bachelor of Arts in the creative industries as a whole. And I was very proud of getting it at the age of, at that time, 50 years old. And I helped a lot of students, and I do help a lot of students.
Yeah.
You know, especially I do a bit of acting as well. So
Yeah.
I get students ask me, because I'm an older person, they can't get somebody my age to act in their films or short films. They'll ask me to come along and act in their films for them. I enjoy doing that, you know.
So one of the guys like See-Through was on, like he's in the same kind of thing. Like if they're looking for kind of older people to be in that shows, like he's like one of the first people that they contact. And you used to think like when you came out of drama school and stuff, they were like, oh, you're young, you'll get all these opportunities. Well, it's actually when you're older you get more opportunities, especially in the industry, because like we need somebody that's a bit older or a bit more experienced, and then the younger ones are going, how the fuck can we get the experience if you don't hire us? As well. It's just it can be a double-edged sword.
The biggest complaint comes from female actresses of a certain age who say there is no roles for them except for being a mother or a granny, you know, and some of them want exciting roles, you know.
In fairness, there's MILF and GILF out there. Like, there's a lot of opportunities if you look for it right enough.
Oh, talking about MILFs, I'll look for it. Oh, boy, I'll look for it.
See, there are the roles. They just don't want to do them.
You check my search engines on my computer. Yeah.
You check my search engines, I'm going to jail. I'm only kidding. Yeah. I love how we both said that at the same time. We'll get both looking at each camera. I'll be putting text underneath it, like, you know, if you have been affected by these issues.
Yes, exactly.
So what films have you done that you can get away with saying?
They're all just short films, short student films.
That's more than I've done. So well, the most I've done is, well, this. So.
Nothing major at all. Nothing major. But that's not the kind of line I'm into. I'm into writing. I write. So I was commissioned to write 2 feature-length films, which I finished maybe about 6 months ago.
Oh, nice.
I finished the second one, and the person I wrote them for is very happy with them. And so much so, the first one is turning into a comic, an action comic, you know, and he's getting the guy in London who's drawing it all up for him and everything like that. So I'm very chuffed with that. You know?
So how did that process kind of come about? Like, because the only time I've ever submitted anything was like my scripts, and I got told they were shit. Which was to hear.
No, the guy.
But what about your kind of process? The process of like doing that? Did they contact you? Did you just write something and go, I've got an idea, and like talk me through it?
No, they advertised on Facebook.
Really?
And I wrote to them and said my experience of what I've done. And then they contacted me again, said how much would I charge? And I told them, and he hired me straight away because I was so much cheaper than everybody, because I like helping people.
Yeah.
And he appreciated that. He's now a friend.
Yeah.
You know, and I said to him, I'll help him with anything he ever wants, you know, because he's trying to develop into a writer himself now. And I help him as much as I can.
So, like the comic itself, like you're saying, as an action comic, is it a superhero genre? Is it crime?
No, it's crime.
Crime?
Oh, yeah, but it's about underground fighting in Glasgow. Secret underground fighting in Glasgow.
It's not so secret if you go to Airdrie Court Bridge on a Saturday night. Well, in fairness, if it goes to Centre Point and Court Bridge, you can get some experience.
Yes,
exactly. We knew plenty of roasters back in the day, didn't we, Hilly? Didn't we, Ross? You may notice that I like to include everybody that's behind the scenes in the conversations. Like, I like them to know that it's not just me rambling, talking pish for 30 minutes. Like, I do have guys that actually go, no, you shouldn't talk about that. And I ignore them.
Yeah.
So what other writing works are you doing? What are you?
No, that's it. I've written a few articles for a magazine called Casinopedia about the casinos that I worked in, etc. So I wrote a few articles there, got paid for them.
What's that kind of about? Is that about like the industry itself, how to get into it, or is it like
customers and their betting techniques? You know, they always talk about a professional gambler is a guy that walks in with £50,000 and starts playing. Oh, professional gambler, you know.
Yeah.
No, a professional gambler is the wee guy that sits with his cup of tea, goes up and puts £10 on black every single day, comes in from when the casino opens at 2:00 or whatever till 5:00, spends 3 hours. If he loses the £40 he come in with, he goes home. If he wins 60, he'll play with the extra 20, put the 40 back in his pocket and play 20. But every day of his life, he's in there trying to earn £20 to £40 every day. He's a professional gambler. It's not as you think, the big guys that play against James Bond and all that.
Yeah. So is that just the way, like, but they'll have maybe... Is the professional gambler, like, it's like their day job? So they basically, they come in with that money, whatever they make for it, it's just like, essentially, they've made a wee bonus in their job or whatever, they'll go home. And they'll just be like, right, see you tomorrow. So essentially the casino becomes their employer.
Their office, yeah.
Their office.
Yeah.
But how many professional gamblers have you seen, like, in your kind of lifetime?
Hundreds upon hundreds that come in. We had one guy who was a great gambler in the sense that he used to, in Sun City, where I worked with, blackjack table near the stairs to go outside the casino. Next door, there was a man's clothes shop. So he would sit at the blackjack. And if he won 50 rand, he would say, when I was shuffling the cards, I'll be back, watch my chips. And he'd rush into the shop and buy a shirt.
Yeah.
Then come back, bit of breath, put the shirt in the bag. Then he'd gamble more. He'd maybe lose the next time. But then he'd gamble more and go up maybe 20, 30, 40 rand again. Take the winnings, go to the cashier first, get cash.
Yeah.
Then rush out to the shop and buy a tie and then a shoe. And at the end of the day, say about 8 o'clock at night, he used to say, I'm off, cheerio, and you'd see him walking out with his bag. So he had goods, that he bought with these winnings instead of paying it all back to the casino.
Do you ever see, like, any... This is just me being... I told you before, and I'll find something and I'll zone in on it, and this is really fascinating to me. Do you ever see card sharks?
Oh,
anybody that tried to count cards, and that kind of stuff.
They get asked to leave the casino.
Yeah. How do you know, like, straight away? Do you know straight away? Is there, like, signs or telltales?
Yes, the signs. Like, they'll sit on box 7 of a blackjack table or box 1, keeping their eye on the cards. If a card counter comes in, you cut the pack of cards in half. So they'll get less cards to count. But they sit there and they do their card counting. You try and put them off their card by talking to them, because they're trying to keep a figure in their head.
Yeah.
But they usually sit in box 7. And what they'll do is they'll be betting 20 rands. Then they'll see the card. There's only a few cards left. They've got a amount in their head, says plus something, means there's still a lot of face cards left. And then all of a sudden they'll chuck on 200. So from betting 20s, all of a sudden they'll put 200 on because the odds have dropped. I've got better for them.
Yeah.
In the chance of winning the next hand. And that you can tell straight away, card shark here,
Yeah.
And if he does it quite a few times, the casino has got the right, especially here in Britain, to go up and say to him, can you please leave the casino?
Yeah.
I don't take your sorts in here.
Anything that they've won, would you just take it off them because they're essentially trying to scam the system?
No, we can't take it off them.
So the winnings that they've essentially won logically, they can still take it away.
Yeah.
Man, that's certainly an interesting line of work.
Yeah, there's so many other ways of cheating. Too long to get into them all, to be quite honest with you.
Advice, I need to make some money. I got a wife and 2 kids to feed and a podcast to run.
There used to be, say, a guy, 2 friends who pretend they don't know each other. And one guy would come in and say, give me yellow chips, 5 rand a chip, right? And give me his yellow chips. So he'd sit in front of him, yellow chips. And he's at the bottom of the table. Another guy would come up, who's his friend that we don't know. He'd go, give me chips at 100 per chip. Also, we'd give him blue chips. Then he decides to go to the toilet, but he takes a blue chip that we don't see and he gives it to his friend, right? Yellow chips. He'd wait until a number came up in the 3rd dozen, one of the high numbers, take a pile of his yellow chips, but put the blue chip underneath it. And he'd wait and say number 32 come up, he'd go on to 32. And you go, oh, come on, sir. I bet it's too late. Croupier then looks and sees it's yellow chips and takes the yellow off and gives them back. then puts the dolly on, clears the table and starts to pay out and gives the guy with the 100 rand 35 times the 100.
Wow.
You know?
That's fascinating.
It's called top hatting.
Top hatting.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting. I've never heard this type of stuff before. I have been on like a blackjack table once in my entire life because I went to Vegas with my family. Ironically, the same year I got my teeth knocked out. And it was just like, I was like, I'm in Vegas. Well, I've got to go to a blackjack table. We didn't get on, and we didn't get onto one until like the day that we were leaving. Because I didn't want to be around lots of people. I just wanted it to be like, because we were leaving like on a Sunday morning and it's quiet. So I went down with my dad and I just sat down and I only had like 50 chips. And I went down to like the 10 and all of a sudden I just got on a wee winning form. And I got I got 350. And it was just then like 2 or 3 people sat down next to me. And it's that way, you just feel something's not right.
Yeah.
And I was just like, so I didn't even know what to do. I didn't know how to like cash them or whatever. I'm just like, I take them off. I went. And so I made all the money back that I'd spent on my holiday. My brother was raging, but because he'd won big at the first go and then lost it all. He was a true Vegas. He lost everything.
Well, first-time players are the biggest winners in casinos all over the world. Guys who go in and go, I'm on holiday, I've got 50, and I'll go and play. And the casino hates holiday makers because when a holiday maker wins, especially the big-time ones, when they win, they take the money away with them.
Yeah.
In casinos like in Glasgow, if somebody wins and they live in Glasgow, the casino doesn't bother. They know they'll be back again.
Yeah.
And the odds are they'll lose it. They'll give it all back. So land-based, city-based casinos don't worry too much.
What's the largest amount that you've seen what someone won when working the time?
A lot. I was a inspector in the Salon Privé on the Punta Banco table, and we had people that flew in, that the casino flew in from Argentina, and these guys came with a lot of money.
Wasn't Maradona, was it?
No. So much so
had to ask.
The casino had to watch, how the table was going, because they were under the threat of these Argentinians winning big money, then flying back to Argentina with it.
Yeah.
And giving it to casinos in Argentina, eventually. Yeah. So that was big pressure back then. And I used to be on the Punta Banco table, and Saul Kersner, who died a few months ago, who was the richest man in Africa at the time, he built Sun City, and he married a Miss World, a South African called Annalena Krail, and she was stunningly gorgeous. And she used to sit just behind him a little bit on the Punta Banco table, and I used to fancy the hell out of her. And I did flirt a wee bit, although Saul was my boss. And you're probably thinking, why would he play in his own casino? But he just did. He liked coming and playing Punta Banco.
One of the things maybe he was just thinking, like, he would always know that he would be coming back to essentially bring his own money back.
Yeah.
could have been just
maybe
something.
Tax reasons or whatever, I don't know. So one day I got up off the table and I was walking to the staff room, and the cashier said, "Colin, come here. I've got a letter for you." I went, "Oh, thank you. Who's it from?" "It's from Annalise." I went, "Oh, yes." Down into the staff room. "Can you meet me tomorrow for breakfast? If we can make it early, like 8:30, Saul will still be in bed."
This could be a Sopranos episode right here.
So I thought to myself, well, I'm certainly going to go for it. So I went to the hotel restaurant at, say, 8:00 in the morning, and I ordered the breakfasts. 2 breakfasts. I thought, I'll be a gentleman here. I'll order them and I'll pay for them. And I says, "Give us champagne and orange juice." And I ordered that.
Yeah.
And I said to the maitre d', I says, "Can you let us know when Annalise comes in?"
Yeah.
He came up and says, "Annalise has come in." He says, "But you're not going to believe it. Saul's with her." And I went, "Oh, God." And then I could see them. And they sat down. Saul facing me, Annalise facing that way. I thought, shit, well, so I got up. And I walked past Annalise, walked by Saul, and then I turned round behind Saul and went to Annalise. And she's sort of looking at me in a way that a bit puzzling.
Yeah.
And then I went to the toilet, came back, and as I'm walking by again, I'm going, went back to my seat. I had 2 breakfasts to eat and have a champagne sitting there on my own. I had paid for it. So that night I went to work, and this guy came up to me called Dave Rollo, and he said, Colin, how did you go with your breakfast with Annalise? And I says, hold on. How do you know I was at breakfast with Annalise? He says, because I wrote the fucking letter.
Oh my God. Oh no. Oh man.
So that was embarrassing. The next time that I had to go on the banquet table with Annalise sitting there looking, going, I recognise him.
Oh no. Did you get your own back?
No.
Oh, you really? That's something that's like, usually like spontaneous.
The only thing I got back is I had a great time in Sun City. I mean, I met lots of famous people. I spent a week with Rod Stewart. I was asked to look after him for a week.
Right. Is Rod Stewart as big an alky as everybody says? Yes.
No, not really. Just that we got pissed every night in his room.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah. Because one of my mates is doing hospitality for Parkhead. He might get sacked by now because let's face it, it's the guy I'm thinking of. He could be sacked by now.
Yeah.
And he's been warned to not give drink to Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
Because he just won't stop.
Uh-huh.
How accurate is that?
It's pretty accurate. We drank a lot because the hotel gave it to him for nothing. He's a skinflint. That is one thing about him. He won't spend a bloody penny.
Well, he does say he's Scottish.
Aye. Well, he's not Scottish. He's English.
Yeah, but he always claims to be Scottish because he's a skinflint.
So
the whole thing about the copper wire was made over 2 Scotsmen fighting over a penny. Right. That's Rod Stewart.
Or you drop a penny and you bend down to get it and it hits you in the back of the head. That one.
Good still game quote right there.
So anyway, so I had a great time there. Played a lot of football with him, etc. And as I say, spent many a night up in his room. His girlfriend was there, Kelly Emberg, and she was walking about with a wee t-shirt and wee white panties on. And my neck, the pain in my neck from stopping following her about the room, was in front of Rod, was really difficult.
Were you afraid you would have got whiplash?
And then one night she came to the big slide open doors into the bedroom. She says, Rod, coming to bed. And Rod went, Colin, I think that's my cue. He says, finish your drink and you know the way out.
Yeah.
And he did. And then closed the doors. And I'm sitting there. And there's a camera. Because I've got pictures at home of the two. He took pictures of us. Kelly took pictures of us together. And I thought the money I could make here by just opening up those slide doors. And
surprise. Because I was about to ask, I was like, did you have to just like awkwardly sit there while he's ploughing away, just hearing all that?
I didn't even finish my drink. I just thought.
Just him going, if you want my oh no. Oh, well, that's my chance of getting Rod Stewart on here fucked. Called him an alky. I've said that he's a shit singer. Like he sings while he's shagging his wife. Good thing that I don't care about this getting popular.
So, and then shared a bottle of red wine with Brian May.
Oh.
The Queen, when Queen played there. Freddie Mercury's not a tall guy. And
he won't be now.
He was very shy, Freddie Mercury. No, but he was very shy, in the country retreat where the golf course was. He was up playing tennis there and he came down. He just looked always so nervous and he tripped over a chair. And he got up and he just started running. And his bodyguards and that had to run to keep up with him because he was so shy that he tripped over a chair in front of people. Yeah.
I did one because I've watched a few documentaries about him and I'd heard that he was quite introverted.
Yes.
But to me, that just felt like, and water is wet because that's kind of what performers are. Like when we're in that zone, we're all very, hey!
Yeah.
But then when we're off stage, it's like,
Well, that's to say you've got to have an alter ego.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a singer in the show in Glasgow, for instance, I would sing a lot of Neil Diamond songs because I'd done Stars in Your Eyes in Holland and got to the semi-final as Neil Diamond.
Oh, was that
although
on?
I looked nothing like him.
Was that on like TV and stuff?
No,
or on like Holland
no,
TV?
in Holland they had it. They sold it to Britain, and Britain changed it into a full TV show.
Yeah.
Whereas in Holland, the up to the semi-final was played in big theatres. I mean, huge theatres.
Yeah.
And then the final was shown on telly, and I got to the semi-final.
Oh.
So it was close.
So what song did you sing for semi-final?
September Morn by Neil Diamond.
Nice, lovely song.
Yeah.
Song.
But then I had a problem with one of the... I don't believe I'm going to tell this.
Well, there's only going to be about 1,000 people watching. You're fine.
The guy who hosted it was a guy called Henny Houseman, who's a famous TV guy who hosts a lot of TV game shows and all this.
If you compare him to like a game show host over here, who would you compare him to? Just for like audience
the guy who used to do the Stars in Your Eyes.
Matthew Kelly?
Matthew Kelly.
Right.
And I was on first, and I was nervous, so I went to the toilet, and I'm sitting there, and the door goes, and I'm going, oh, hold on, I won't. I said,
right, were you doing a PS? Were you doing a PSJ pre-show jobby?
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Is that something that no one ever tells you, that performance is the best laxative you will ever get?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, and he's tapping the door, and I'm going, whatever. It comes on, and tapping the door again. I'm, for fuck's sake, you know.
Because you're trying to round up before you
get the door, and Henny Houseman standing there.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, I says, hiya. I put my hand out. And he looked at my hand with disgust in his face, took my finger and went like that. And I went, oh, God. And then I walked on. And then I heard them going, God verdomme. And flushing. I forgot to flush. So I'm thinking, this is a terrible start.
Oh, my God. This is a brilliant stand-up sketch.
So I'm side of the stage, ready to go on, and this guy walks up. Do you remember Father Ted?
Yes.
The one with the Song for Europe?
Yes, My Lovely Horse.
Aye, and the guy who used to do the comparing on it.
Yeah.
Backstage, he was...
He's like, and they go on, he was speaking about really eloquently.
And dressed perfectly, right. The guy was like him, and he was standing beside me, and he started speaking Dutch. And I said, sorry, mate. I said, I'm so nervous. I says, do you speak English? Where are you from? I said, Scotland. He says, well, you'll be in the first plane back to Scotland then. And that's one of the judges. And the girl with the board and all that went, oh, don't you say that. That's a terrible thing to say. And he walked on. And my confidence was shattered. And I went on. And then the thing is, September Morning starts on a note, down. Stay for just a while.
Yeah.
And that down, the crowd were still applauding. I couldn't hear it. So I was playing catch up in the song. So I didn't, that's how I never get through the semi-final. I'll quite tell you this story. This is great. When I worked in the show in Glasgow, I used to be the compere as well.
Yeah.
And a dancer, her husband was coming up from London.
Yeah.
And we wanted him to sing at the show as a permanent singer in the show.
Yeah.
But he says, if I can compare. I was like, well, already got one, got me. Yeah. And the boss said, yes. So I was a wee bit,
Yeah.
So his first night on, now this guy was a stand-in. My chewing gum getting in the way again. There was a stand-in for Michael Ball.
Yeah.
And down in London. So he came up and he went out his first night, and we used to do the birthdays, birthday for so-and-so, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause, birthday. Yeah. And my mate, who was my singing partner, he turned and says, watch this. So he went to the curtain and went, David, I'm giving his name away there. He said, oh, there must be a late birthday, and yes, what is it? He says, Mr. Puller. Oh, Mr. Puller, right. Willie.
Yes.
And he went out, right over his head, he went, I'm looking for a puller, Mr. Puller. I'm looking for a Willie puller.
Yes.
The audience burst out laughing. He just didn't get it.
Oh.
And he kept going. Is there a Willie puller in the building?
Well, there's quite a few.
So we got him back.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Oh.
So, and there's so many things I could go on for ages with wee anecdotes and stories.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the advantages of being in the industry. You do pick up all these little anecdotes and and find out little bits of what a trivia, so. Aside from like the ones you've mentioned, who's the biggest name that you've
actually worked with? I played football at a high level, such a high level actually, that when I went to Botswana in South Africa, Botswana applied to FIFA to get recognition to enter the World Cup and things like that. They hired a German from Borussia Mönchengladbach to come and be the manager.
Yeah.
He then had a bounce-up game between the international team and the Sun City team.
Yeah.
I played in the Sun City team and banged in 2 goals against them. Next thing I know, I got a letter telling me to turn up for training for the Botswana team. And then later after that, I got a letter that I got citizenship for Botswana from the president so I could play for the international team.
Wow.
And played 2 games for them. And at training, the president's son played in the team as well. And he was educated in London. I remember sitting out, after training, having conversations with him.
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting.
Did you get warned, not if you were doing training, not to tackle him because he was the son?
No.
You were like, number 5.
He wasn't like that himself. No, he would have said, no, come ahead. He was a good football player.
Oh, brilliant.
But the problem was, we were meant to play against Orlando Pirates, a famous South African First Division team, live on telly. So everybody's dead excited about it.
Yeah.
And the manager from Borussia Mönchengladbach, he went to the stadium where it was going to get played, and it was at the height of the emergency. What do you call it when the state of emergency? And the manager...
That just gave the game away that the guy was talking about is still actually in the fucking building.
And
the magic's ruined.
Yes.
So he declared a state of emergency.
Oh yeah, and he got attacked and got nearly every bone in his body broken, and the game was cancelled. So all the players on the Botswana side were all in tears because them being live on telly was a chance for them to get spotted by bigger teams in South Africa, to get taken on. You know what I mean? And because the game got cancelled, they were all in tears. I was a bit upset myself, because, good thing.
What position did you play?
Centre forward for them. Although when I played for Motherwell reserves, I was a centre half. They made me a centre half because of my height.
Yeah, it's like my boss at my daytime job. He's a massive Motherwell fan. So I might say to him, someone that played in the Motherwell reserves.
See, I played alongside Joe Wark, who was the captain of Motherwell, but he was getting on a bit and put into the reserves. And I was there the day he played his last game for Motherwell, and he wasn't happy. Threw football boots around the dressing room and everything because he was told to go and play as the overage player for the under-18s.
Wow. The
ex-captain. For years and years, he was the captain of Motherwell. And because he signed a guy called Shuggy Edvaldson from Celtic. Big Shuggy Edvaldson. And Jock Wallace was the manager. And I remember him introducing me to Shuggy. He says, this is who you'll be partnering at the back against St Mirren on Saturday.
Yeah.
Big call. Watch this. Boom, stuck ahead of me. He went, see, tough as Shuggy. He's as tough as nails. You know? It was bloody sore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Like,
the tears in my eyes.
I think there's other ways to prove that you're tough and not just randomly go up and headbutt you. Like, here's a glass of kiss and bombs.
Aye. So there was that. But you were saying about the question was the most famous person. I played alongside Ali McCoist and Gary McAllister for quite a number of years in the Motherwell youth teams. Before Ali went off to St Johnstone.
Yeah.
And then, as I say, there's Rod Stewart, Brian Mays, and I went to dinner with Sandy Lyle, the golfer. And singing-wise, I would say, well, I sung Flower of Scotland over the radio with Rod Stewart.
Nice.
So in a way, I performed with him. We were up in his room, and BBC Scotland, he asked BBC Scotland to send the match through via telephone.
Yeah.
So he wedged the telephone in the couch, and we both sat like that, listening to commentary of the Scotland game. Yeah. And then the guy come on and says, Rod, can we have an interview afterwards? And he says, yeah. So he went to me, start singing Flower of Scotland. 3, 2, 1. Both and the two of us started singing Flower of Scotland. So
nice one.
So away. And then I worked for a number of years with I forget his Eddie. I forget his second name there. That's Eddie Reid. From
he did the Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah. And I worked with Eddie for quite some time.
All right.
You know, so I'll go in and I'll think there'll be somebody else popping in my head.
Well, we come back, what? Right, there's more stories and there's more stories.
Bust in the door. Hey, listen, Andrew.
Lads, if I had like someone on talking about like suicide or whatever. Andrew! Did you know we were in the studio? We are starting to call it on time, so since this is a mental health podcast, I'll ask you the question that I ask all my guests. If you could give one piece of advice to anybody struggling with mental health issues at this point in time, what would that piece of advice be?
Well, as somebody who does suffer from mental health, anxiety and depression, occupy yourself. Occupy yourself with something that makes you smile. Whether it be a hobby or a good book or comedy shows on telly. Occupy your brain. Don't let it go empty and blank, because you'll just sink into the darkness.
That's one of the things. Like, people think that people with anxiety and stuff, I've got anxiety myself, but that it means they don't want to do anything. It's more that they need to find something and just keep doing it. Yeah. But to keep their brain going. Yeah. Because, like you say, like, the worst thing is not having something to do.
Anything. And not having a planned future. Something to look forward to. One thing I always say that the kind of opposite is never have regrets. Regrets are horrible to have. And because you can never change them. So try and live your life without any regrets. You get a chance to do something, go and do it. You can always step away from it later on. But take up every opportunity you get. Mm-hmm.
Come to Rod Stewart's favourite new segment, Ask Andrew Anything. This is where, after me grilling my guests for, how long's it been, Russ? 40 minutes. My wife's going to kill me because I'm running late again. This is where we get to turn the tables round and Colin gets to ask me a question. It could go very well or it could go very badly. It's all part of the fun. So do you have a question for this mental ginger?
There was a question, but I can guess the result, what the end would be, in the sense of, you know, what's your favourite football team, as he stares down at his green and white trainers and his green T-shirt underneath there. And
it's actually Power Rangers. Yeah, it was just that cold in the studio. I was like, normally I'll just get into a normal mental ginger show gear, and I was like, my balls are so cold they're actually back at my kidneys. I was like, I need to get like layers on. Yeah.
So it's now out that he's a Celtic supporter. So
yeah, but I'm also
the people who watched the Mental Ginger show are now cut in half. I believe and going, no.
If anybody's seen me on the Endless Celts podcast, they know that I'm a Celtic fan. But I'm also, Celtic wasn't my first team.
Was it not?
No, it was Aston Villa.
That was my favourite English team.
That's still my favourite English team.
Well, it was until certain manager of Rangers left to go to them. And I didn't like that.
And in fairness, that's been the best fucking news that's happened to me as a Villa fan. Because it's so great. I'm just like...
When Gerrard left, to go there, and I went, why? I mean, I just couldn't understand it.
It's a stepping stone.
Yeah.
It's a stepping stone to Liverpool.
But he would have went to Liverpool if he'd have stayed at Rangers, I feel. He would have still went to Liverpool.
Winning 1 and 9 would not have resulted in Liverpool. But
yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I was actually on BBC Radio Scotland, and because they contacted the Scottish Aston Villa support group.
Ah, right.
And asked for someone to come on who knew about Aston Villa and the Scottish game. Yeah. And this was before he was officially announced. So I said, well, I'll do it if no one's going on. So they just all nominated me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on talking about it, and they were saying, like, what do you think about Gerrard going to Villa? I said, personally, I don't think it's the right time. I think he stay at Rangers for another season, prove it wasn't like a wonder. But what would do it in front of a crowd? Let's see if he can win a cup, because that's always going to hang on him. So I was very diplomatic with what I said. And then 12 hours later, he signs the contract. I'm like, okay, I can never go back on BBC Scotland again. My opinion is worthless.
Do you know the thing? Right, could you guess why I supported Aston Villa? As a school kid, at secondary school, I started supporting Villa where everybody was supporting Man United, but especially Liverpool.
Yeah.
And all that.
Well, I know that
if you know the history of them.
I know that their crest is actually the rampant lion of Scotland.
That's right, yeah. No, it was because the man who started Aston Villa was a MacGregor.
Yes, he was actually.
So that was the reason why
that was the reason.
Villa.
Mine was a lot more selfish. Like Villa played Man United in the final. My dad's a Man U fan. We beat them, so I liked them. To piss off my dad. And then I started actually following them, and like I really got into their history and got into their style of play, and just really liked. And then finding out Scotland as well, there's a Scottish element there, and I just really liked the style of play and like their team. And I think it's why I gravitated to Celtic, because it was I could notice similar traits. But in a sense, one European
That's
Cup,
right. Yeah.
But that was only time in Europe at that point. But they have a rich history. They're really good with helping fans and stuff. So it all kind of lined up. But yeah, Villa fan from when I was 6, and Celtic fan from when I was 12.
Do you know when Celtic first started? Rangers were already on the go for quite a number of years.
Yes.
But when Celtic first started with their father, I can't remember his name.
Brother Walford.
The Rangers and Celtic back then supported each other in charity matches.
There was no like rivalry at all.
Exactly.
It was when Rangers actually started getting what links with like Ireland, and it was the companies that were supporting them said don't hire any Catholics, and then that's just kind of what stuck.
Yeah.
But
I remember the early years.
So if you know your history.
It's enough to make your heart go. Then we end it there.
Yeah, we end it there. Did Rod ever know that you were a Rangers fan?
Yes, very much so. Because what he did was, in his room, there's footballs everywhere.
Yeah.
You go to the toilet and you're kicking balls out the way. And then you come back to the toilet and he's playing head off the wall of the hotel. And he would chest it and just put it and don't care if it smashes anything. And he had a big chest, a seaman's chest, not a seaman's. I don't mean that. I mean a sailor's chest.
Brings back to that blooming photo I'm thinking.
A sailor's kind of chest.
Yes. That's clipped.
Which he would open up, and it was full of videos.
Yeah.
Not those kind of videos to make it a seaman's
I was going to say.
No. Full of videos of Celtic.
Yeah.
And he'd make me sit there and watch them.
Oh, no.
And not one of them did Celtic get beat. They were all Celtic games winning.
Yeah.
And he would deliberately look out the Rangers ones and make me sit there and watch it with him.
In fairness, that sounds like a very Rod Stewart thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's been absolutely brilliant having you on, man. Thank you so much for coming.
It's been great.
It's been such a laugh and getting to hear all these little tidbits and little stories. And I'm pretty sure Rod Stewart's going to sue me now.
I've got a feeling as well. Yeah, I'll be writing to him.
Tell him we come
just
on.
Little ginger,
If it gets
slagging you off, Rob.
Yeah, just don't.
Sir Rab.
Yeah, Sir Rab. Until next time.
Rab, Rod. It's wrong with my
Sir Rab. Well, that'll be it. Well, I will say it was Sir Rab and I don't get sued. So until next time, my faithful followers, I've been Andrew Durnan. This has been the brilliant Colin MacGregor. Wow, you've been such a great laugh. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for asking.
Till next time, take care, stay safe.